All right. So I'm just tying up a couple things right now, and then we're going to dive in. It is a crazy place in the world right now. Despite how crazy it feels, I am fully confident that everything is going to be okay. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are losing hope. And I'm here to tell you that once we begin to know deeply, hello, once we begin to know deeply in our heart that um, we're on a path which has been laid out for us, not to harm us, but to heal us. And there's a lot of worry in the world as well. And we're going to do some cards. We're going to go into the energy update. Today is the Vesta entering Cancer, if you're not familiar with astrology at all. So over the next couple weeks, the focus is going to be to build a stable foundation for yourself and also for your loved ones. So remember that it's time to commit to yourself, right? It's time to focus on turning your heart and your house into a home. Out of everything you could do right now, you want to tap into your heart. Tap into the soul that is inside of you. There's a lot. There's a lot going on, and what we're experiencing is not going to shift by getting stuck in the news and trying to figure out who is trying to pull the wool over your eyes. You see, that's not gonna solve the issue. I will say, when it comes to the world around us, and regardless of anyone's opinion about anything, information is not necessarily as relevant as knowledge. Information doesn't bring knowledge. Knowledge comes from understanding. And understanding truth comes from the heart, and it comes from discernment. And to really allow your heart to open up. So we're going to pull some cards, and we're going to talk a little bit about what comes up. And as you saw in the title, let go of pain, let love in. Ask yourself a question before we pull these cards, before you sit with me and we really dissect some of the things, some of the opportunities in your life right now. Have you constructed or created or collaborated with pain in your life as opposed to gratitude? Are there people in your life that you would defend to the death and they've hurt you to the core continually? And why would you put yourself in harm's way over and over and over? Right? That's one thing that we need to look at. Begin to understand what a boundary looks like. A boundary is not a barrier, okay? A barrier is a wall. I like to think of a boundary as the distance to be able to deal with something, or where I know I'm familiar, or where my energy occupies, and people know this is a space that is affiliated with a frequency. A barrier means I keep out. And there's this misconception when it comes to creating boundaries. I've been guilty as charged. If I could raise my hand and you could see it, hey, boom, it's right here. My hand's up. I'm raising my hand. As a man, I've been guilty of sabotaging really important pieces of my life due to believing that I was creating a healthy boundary and it was actually detachment, or believing I was creating a healthy boundary and it was actually a ploy of my ego to prevent me from being hurt. And you know what it did? It hurt me anyway. So make sure that your boundaries are about betterment, right? And I'll also say, you want to be in the world and not of the world. This is true. But is this your world or is it not? Do you want to just be a guest here, or do you want to give this world everything you've got to build it, right? You've got a property and there's nothing on it. And you envision what it could be. Are you ready to put a little elbow grease and a little work into creating that home? Because things are like layers, like pancakes. When you make your heart your home, and when you make who you are your real identity, your heart, your discernment elevates, your connection to source elevates. Discernment means that you no longer have to deal in a realm worried about good and evil, because you don't also have to deal in a realm where people do you wrong, because you're in a frequency of heart. And when you learn to hear from the heart, you don't question your gut instinct. That question arises because it's so much easier to stay stuck. It's so much easier to stay in the old story. It's so much more comforting to keep in that control grid where you know this is as bad as it can get. And it's going to get, and if you're worried about, that, and if you're isolating yourself, you might be canceling out what you could be, what you're capable of, right? So your boundaries need to be really flexible, need to be permeable, need to be, your boundaries should be more of yourself, your being, and it's expanding. And when you start to occupy your body, hello, when you start to occupy your body, when you start to occupy your presence, the space around you, when you start to occupy the people, the environment, and the city, when you start to occupy the country, when you start to occupy the world, the galaxy, the universe, as directly connected to source through your heart, and your head is your mind is more of a dial on the radio, right? It's to get you to the signal. And yes, the mind is all when we go into hermetics, but the mind needs energy, and energy comes from the heart, and the heart's connected to source. So when you get into the heart, when you get underneath the layers, when you start to invite your truth, and you start to accept the truth of other people, as long as it's not dangerous to you, and you start to really think outside of the box that you've been living in, when you start to understand, I'm going to make this world my home. I'm not trying to leave. I'm not trying to get out of here. I'm not trying to get to heaven. I'm going to actually be here and be powerful and be present. Do you know being present is being powerful, right? Being present is being extremely powerful. When you're not present, you lose your power. Yeah? So let's dive in. We're going to break some cards open. First, I want to say a little blessing. I want to just give you a little blessing, under the nurturing moon that we've got or this nurturing space that we've got going into Cancer, and that we seek to build a stable and loving foundation in our life. And may the energy of this reading, of this download, guide you in the level of commitment and involvement with your families, your friends, your surroundings, to establish a warm, harmonious home where love can flourish And that home will be an extension of your heart. And as we explore these cards and we receive that message, may we find the wisdom to let go of pain and to invite that love that is all around us inside. And may we move in that love. And right now, I'm going to say, as an affirmation for myself, and I'll say it for you, I'm going to stand in the gap for you. I embrace the nurturing energy. I dedicate myself and my frequency to my family, my friends, the people that look up to me, the people I look up to, the people I don't know yet, the people that have wronged me. I dedicate myself to sending love, creating a home, to generating a frequency in my heart where home is here in the present. And I release pain, and I open my heart. I open my heart to the abundant flow of love, so that love will know who I am and where I am. And I will have the courage and the wisdom to build a stable and harmonious foundation through my heart, through who I truly am. And we're going to put these cards out. Okay, let's see what we've got. Here's, boom, 1, 2, 3. All right. We'll start here. Card 1, the Emperor. There's a lot of sacral and a lot of root in this card. And there's a thing here that, so is this, you could ask, well, how could this be for the collective? It isn't for the collective. It's for you. If you found this is for you. If it resonates, it's for you. If it resonates for someone else, it's through you. This is either for you or through you. This isn't for the collective. This is for every single person that finds this. You see, 8 billion people. No, I'm not speaking to 8 billion people. I'm speaking to you. Know that. The Emperor, right? This card is where you're coming from. It signifies the strength that you've developed over time. It signifies that whether you know it or not, you've created a stability in your presence. And that your experiences with love in the past, well, they've created and sculpted you. And that who you represent right now, this phase in your life, that you are ready to take leadership. You're ready to take control and play a significant, if not an instrumental role in your life, in your love life, in other people's lives. And this is where you've been working. This is what you've been going through. And it suggests that this period of order and authority in your life is bringing you to a new level of love and investigation of love. The root, the red around his chest, it's about a return to truth. It's about understanding that all the chakras don't just sit and hover at a center. They intermingle, they expand, they contract, just like you breathe. He's got a chess piece because it's checkmate. You've won the game. You just don't know it yet. You've won the game. You've earned your name. But you don't realize that yet because you're still stuck, possibly, in the system. And the system knows that you've won. So the system is doing everything it can right now to keep you from figuring that out. Right? So this is where you're coming from. And this is what you're embodying. Courage. And I love this. She's half lion, half woman with the lamb. This card's reflecting your inner strength. You've earned it. It's reflecting your bravery because you possess it. To be you, to be here right now, and to not pull back, To not get in the back seat and go in the past. To try to prevent yourself from being available, being vulnerable. To not pull an excuse out of your ass, right? How many, I'm raising my hand again, how many of you have pulled an excuse out of some distant past? How many of you have that inner voice inside that you argue with, where you're wondering, when's he going to call? When's she going to call? If they're not calling, it's not that you don't care. You care more about where you are than what they're doing, unless you're needed, right? So many people are unable to listen to their heart. They're listening to their head, and their head creates chaos because your head doesn't have the idea of discernment. Your head tries to calculate logically why someone isn't calling you back, or why this didn't work out, or why you got fired. Your heart doesn't have to figure those things out. Your heart just embraces it, receives it, thanks God for it, and keeps on going. You know, like they say, it takes a lick and keeps on ticking like a Timex. Your heart is synced. The mind makes all the craziness. And this courage card of where you are right now, in the context of love, it indicates that you have shown resilience and fearlessness, no matter what you've faced. Maybe you've lost somebody, and if you hear any snoring in the background, it's my dog. Send a little prayer to him, and we got to take him to the vet again next week. I got to take him. He's got a little something on his left hip, so focus on that with me and shrink whatever this is. And he's important to me, and I love him, and he's broken me open because the animals, like a dog, cat, whatever you have, they love you without any predisposition. They love you without any old story, you know, and you have that potential. And that's what this card's showing you, that you can face any challenge. And this card also speaks to your ability to confront difficult situations and to have confidence. Because and confidence isn't telling yourself you can. Confidence is telling yourself you have, right? You don't have to be the train that says, I think I can. No. You're here now in this age of Aquarius is coming in. And if you're here, you already have, right? You've been through as much or more than many of our ancestors have to date in your lifetime. So it's not, I think I can, I am, I think I can. No, you have and you are. You no longer am, you are, right? So now you just need to move in that strength, move in that confidence, and that's the courage card. And your future coming in is 4 Pentacles, right? And she's holding the Pentacles in a purse. And it represents an ability and a culmination, a harvest of all of the work that you've done. You see, because the Queen of Cups is about emotional depth. I mean, look at her face. It's about emotional intuition. It's about compassion. It's about understanding the 4 major aspects below your throat chakra, the 4 energy centers that are below that, right? Your root, your sacral, your heart, and your solar. So you've learned to establish those lower densities. You've dealt with them. You know what they are. And it suggests that in that moment that you were guarded and hesitant to fully open up, this is a reminder to say, hey, hold on. I don't need to hold back anymore. And I'm not saying, it's not about going around and getting busy and doing the horizontal mambo with every man or woman in town. It's not about walking up to the lady at the library or the man at the market and saying, hey, I'm in love with you. If you do that, fine. That's okay. I'm not saying not to. This is deeper than that. This is about you're not opening the door for someone so that they say thank you. You feel me? You're not letting that person in front of you on the freeway because you're trying to give them something. You're doing it because it's who you are, right? A lot of times we virtue signal silently, unknown to ourselves, through heart, right? We see it happening in Maui. Look at Oprah. She's so out of touch. There's numerous things we can go into, but let's just look at it from a general perspective. She's a billionaire, out of touch, out of tune, asking people to give. In her mind, she doesn't see anything wrong with that. Now, because she doesn't recognize you guys. She doesn't recognize me. She doesn't recognize any of us because she only looks up. She doesn't observe. She's not looking. She has a very small lens, a very small space of exposure. And she's not balanced, right? She's not emotionally vulnerable. She's not, her value is only up, and her value is all self-centric. She has no emotional vulnerability or value for seeing the earth as her home, seeing you as her people, as her home. People lose connection because they are connected outside of themselves. So this is about bringing it back to your gut, bringing it back to who you are, about the importance of emotional connection and empathy. And empathy from a place of strength, right? You don't want to have empathy and then call in narcissists or people that need empathy and they just take it from you and you learn your lesson. You learn self-love from the person that's selfish. You don't need to do that anymore. You can have empathy just by showing up and being present and shining, right? And that means you're operating at a frequency and at a wavelength of love. And what other people are doing doesn't depreciate your intensity or your value or your vulnerability because you're that strong. Okay? Let's clarify. Let's break it down. So here's a clarification of also where you're coming from. Queen of Cups, I feel it. I love that. Right? So, and we know that the Queen of Cups embodies emotional depth, it embodies intuition, it embodies compassion. And in the past, this is about that you've experienced that period of being empathic, but maybe surrendering yourself by believing that you were judged by your service, believing that your purpose is to prevent or to heal or to help, rather than to be a witness or to be the person that is help, that is healing. Like when Jesus walked through a village or town, he wouldn't even have to touch you and you would be healed, right? Because he was healing itself. So when you can be love itself, when you can be gratitude in itself, when you can be light in itself, when you can be kindness in itself, you're not trying, and if it's not received, it doesn't affect you because you've tapped into the ever eternal, infinite flow of the universe, and it's just pouring. It's like when somebody fills a cup up too much and just keeps pouring. So the universe is just pouring, it's just pouring out of you. And as it pours out of you, it touches people. And it will touch people that didn't even know they needed to be touched, right? As an empath, we tend to biolocate. We tend to target who needs our help. But I'll tell you, as an empath, everybody needs your help. And how do you help everybody? You see everybody as yourself by accepting as much source as possible so that you can pump it out everywhere you're at, and you become the everlasting life. You become the fountainhead. You become where the water starts at the top of the mountain, and you feed people because you become food, right? possibly that maybe that's what it meant when take this is my body, drink this is my blood. Perhaps it was symbolic of the sustenance that is self once you tap into source. So this is what you've done in the past. This is who you are, and you may not recognize it yet. And this reading will help you, and it's going to help you recognize that. So, as a giver or receiver, this card's also going to remind you of the importance of emotional connection and being able to feel emotions but not have them rule you, right? You know what I'm saying? So then we're going to step into the present moment, and we're going to say, okay, hey, what can you give me, God? What can you give me that gives me some more clarity about where I'm at right now? The King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles, man's best friend beside him, looking at the pentacle like it's a crystal ball in a red room, aged but still youthful. There's an understanding here in this card. There's an ability to see beyond in this card. And there's a comfort that comes with this. It's a practicality. And the King of Pentacles represents stability. It represents material abundance. It represents abundance in its being, a practical level of abundance. And in the context of love, it is suggesting that you're currently in that phase where if you start to prioritize stability and seeing yourself as basically an extension of source, and you stop believing that an energy vampire can rob you or that the person can piss you off, when you stop surrendering your power to circumstantial interactions, and when you stop allowing fear and pain to create connection or prevent your power from being present, you'll operate differently in the world. You'll drop in. I've done it last week. I mean, I felt it. I've dropped in. And it's not that you don't care. You care completely. And you're just present, you know. This card is also, it's suggesting that the current phase you're in, if you begin to focus on building a home and strength, and then when you recognize that prosperity is more about the foundation of your decisions and your doings than it is about the return on your investment, right? Right? Love isn't about ROI. Love, here's the interesting thing, insecure systems. When you're loving from an insecure place, when you're loving out of insecurity, that love needs to return. You need return on investment. But when you love, you're loving, right? That's the bonus, right? The fact that you can love freely without an energy vampire or a narcissist or a nagging person or someone that doesn't see it your way. When you can love beyond the trivial, when you can love beyond what they can take from you, you're the winner. Winner, chicken dinner. You won, right? When you can outlove loss, when you can outlove losing, when you can outlove the pain that lingers, you've won. You feel me? So let's dive into this a little bit. Let's clarify this card. Cha-ching. All right. Message from the universe. 10 of Cups. Come home. See everyone as your child. See everyone as your brother. See everyone as your father, your mother. And yeah, you know, hey, you're not going to like family all the time, but if family needs you, you rarely say no. Why is that? Because you've been conditioned to think blood is thicker than water, but you know what? Blood's made of water. So technically, everyone on this planet is your family. And the school of control that has kept you from your power separated you so deeply through societal games, through news, through color, through class, through logos and labels, through big houses and expensive cars, through boundaries and country lines that don't exist. Have you ever, if you're flying around in a plane, have you ever looked down to see? Have you seen the outline of the states in the United States, or have you seen the outlines of the countries in Europe? Have you been able to see those white lines that are on a map yet? No. Why? Because when you are above, as above, so below. When you are above, when you are in the world but not of it, those barriers, those boundaries don't exist. Right? When someone's being bad, when somebody's being crazy, when somebody's being, doing something wrong, you need to stop it, or someone needs to stop it or intervene. Okay. But are we seeking justice to intervene, or are we seeking to know why? Oftentimes, we just want to know why to punish them accordingly so that it's even. But just getting even doesn't go above that, right? In Africa, they have something called Ubuntu, where they put the person that failed the village in the center, and they all come around, and they figure out how they failed the person that did whatever was wrong. What part did I play in it? And if we were to start to look around as a mass, right? I don't like to even say the collective, because as a mass, if you like, let's say you had a city of 10,000 people. If 1,000 people sat down in the center of the city and started asking these questions, it would spread, right? It'd go viral. If 1 million people sat down in Washington, D.C. and started asking these questions, and if they weren't worried about reparations or whether choose life or choose death, or they weren't worried about trying to convert people to their sexual preference, if they weren't worried about their pronoun, if they were just worried about people sincerely, right? If they were just wanting to make the world a better place, 1 million people sat down, it would stop the whole country. If 10 million, it would change a country. The one thing that we've realized, when you stop and you take your power away from a situation, and you remove yourself from a situation to pull back and to get the big picture, it clarifies itself. It finds truth on its own, right? So we're dealing in different dimensions now. The earth is altered, right? And somebody out there has a question, and I want you to sit with this. I want you to ask yourself, okay, so what's on my mind right now? Whenever you watch this, it doesn't matter, because everything is on time, right? Everything's on time. Everything's fine. Everything you've been through was designed to be you, to bring you here, and you're powerful for it. Thank God. Literally. So we've got a couple. Let's see what the question is that you've got. Let go. Just breathe in real deep with me for a second. Hold it for a little bit of time. Let that breath sit in with you. Don't surrender it so easily. Let it sit in your belly. And then just breathe out. And I want you to try something for me tonight before you go to bed or whenever you watch this. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's next week, maybe it's next month. I don't know. 5 minutes before you go to sleep, before you start to fall into that beautiful state of bliss, I just want you to say the words, let go, let go, let go. I'm all about, I'm going to give you a tip right now. Whether it's Trudeau, whether it's whoever it is, right? Any government, anything that's going on right now that seems suspect, it's not because they're trying to destroy you. They're trying to control you. And it's not because they've got an agenda to do so. It's because you are letting go. You are pulling your power back to put it into the heart. You're taking the shields off. You're taking the armor off. You're allowing the race, color, creed, class to fall to the side. You're recognizing people. You're recognizing the earth. You're recognizing feeling. You're recognizing strength. You're recognizing your voice. And you're decommissioning your consumer habits. You're not buying as much because you don't need as much. Because you know you only need what you need now, right? Like if you're hunting, if you're a solo hunter and you're living alone in the wilderness, you're not going to drag an elk back to your hut, right? You're going to hunt game that you can carry home. So it's not going to be big, right? If you're a village and you got tons of hunters, then maybe, yeah. But if you're solo, right? So you're having this awakening right now, and as you're having this awakening, whatever the controllers are, they get that. There's been a wave of minimalism. There's been a wave of a lack of consumerism. There's been a wave of people boycotting. There's been a wave of people moving away from cities. There's been a wave of people moving away from companies, corporations. There's been a wave of people going back to their families. There's been a wave of people leaving big countries, going to small countries. There's been a wave of people deciding, hey, I don't want to live in a house. I want to live in a car. I want to live in a van. I want to live in an RV. There's people that are saying, hey, I don't want to be in this rat race anymore. I want to be in a homestead. I want to be in a small community. I want to go to a different country. So what's happening is we're waking up, and as we do so, we're dangerous. Because the matrix is dependent upon your invested time and energy. And they know this, so they're trying to reel you in before you really let go. Right? And that's what this card is telling you. Let go. Right? And what happens if you let go? You're going to start the greatest adventure of your heart that you've ever imagined. Wonderful new experiences fill your life. So if you can work with me tonight, right before you go to bed, that sounds a little weird, but you know what I mean, and you can just say 5 minutes before you fall asleep, let go, let go. Or if you need to relax, just say the word, relax, relax. You don't need to negotiate with shit. Stop saying I am, I need, I create, this is, let's just cut away all the fat. Let's just find the frequency. We don't have time to play with our mind on whether our mind is going to convince our subconscious. When you say I am and the mind's like, no, you're not. Just say wealth, love, relax. Shh. Just say the word so there's less for the subconscious to work with or the ego to work with when it comes to fighting back. And the frequency of that word, like abracadabra, like Harry Potter swinging his wand, right? Let the word do the work. Okay? Let the vibration going through your throat, coming out of your heart, do the work. And I'll tell you what, when you trust in the word and you dive in with the word, not trying to convince yourself, not trying to convince your ego, not trying to sell yourself that you are something, right? When you just have the word, it will find you. It will alter your frequency and you will find fullness. And that's how it works. And I've been doing this with a lot of people for a long time. And if you want a reading, you can go to ryankeys.com right now after this and book a session. And if you need to go deeper, we can do that. There's options there. But I will tell you, I don't have time to play around. I don't have time for pronouns. I don't have time for the I am. I just have time for now, right? Just like I'm streamlining my words, like I'm streamlining my mantras, I'm streamlining my coaching, I'm streamlining what we do. So be ready. Hold tight. Make sure your pants are zipped up and buttoned up and your belt's tight and you're ready to bust out of here. You feel me? So you've got this. It's time to let go. And that card I just did. I mean, come on. Do you need any more freaking confirmation? I shuffled the deck, let go. And what is the title of this video? Let go. And like I said, oh no, you can't do a tarot reading or for the collective. You're absolutely fucking right. I can't do one for the collective. I'm doing it for you. Wake up. I'm doing it for you. And there might be 10 of you in here. There might be 20 of you in here. There might be 10,000 of you that watch this. I am doing it for you. Don't belittle yourself that it's not for you. Don't try to say or to argue with this wasn't specifically for you. Receive it. Receive it. Why do you got to rely on pain to be present? Why? Why do we have to rely on pain to engineer our availability or our answers or our retorts? Why do we have to why does pain take center stage when somebody asks us how we're doing? Why does pain set up shop in our story so abundantly that we never get out of it? Because we don't let it go. Because it's been serving you. And I'm here to say, don't let it serve you any longer. Let gratitude convert the pain, right, to thankfulness. Convert the pain, convert the suffering, convert your bullshit story, convert your survival, whatever the shit is that you survived, I don't care. Convert it to hell yeah. Go from what the hell to hell yes, right? And when you do this, your maybes are going to fall in the toilet, right? You're not going to, because the pain, the suffering, the story that you sit on, that you keep saying over and over and over, I can't do this, I don't have that much money, I don't have that much time, I keep losing my job, all that pain, all that bullshit story that you're continually resuscitating, rather than just getting your ass out and doing what you need to do. You know what that's doing, right? It's in your way. It's not even allowing you to see that you fucking made it. That you're here, right? You're actually afraid of your own strength, so you're self-sabotaging. You don't want to recognize how amazing you've done to get here, so you minimize it by keeping the old story. And then when somebody comes in that you want to love, oh, you light it up. When the good guy comes around and is like, hey, I was wondering. Nah. You go for the bad boy. You go for the bad girl. You go for the bad relationship. You go for the why? Because it takes less work. And it's less scary. And it's not as comforting because it's something you're not used to, right? So when that guy or that girl walks by and they tell you, hey, would you like to go out? You're not looking for red flags, right? You're looking for love, heart, strength, and vulnerability. And when somebody shows up with those things, if you're still damaged, that's going to be dangerous, right? For two reasons. One, because you feel possibly subconsciously you don't deserve it. And second reason, you're trying to protect them from yourself. Because, I'm a hot mess. I'm not ready. I need to do self-work. That's bullshit. You're always ready for love. You're always ready for love. Stop lying to yourself, right? Give yourself some credit. You're still treading water. Your head's above the water line. You haven't drowned yet. You're doing good. We're all treading water, okay? Come back to reality. We're all doing work. We're all barely getting by. We're all trying to break through. We're all waking up every damn day. We're all 1 foot in the dream and 1 foot in reality, right? All of us at every level. Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer, the fucking Pope. We're all at the same level. Oprah, definitely. I mean, the thing is that when somebody says they're not, run. Because they don't know reality. The reality is that you're always going to be doing work. But if you can learn to love the work, if you can learn to love yourself, if you can learn to open the door for that little old lady or little old man, because that's who you are, it doesn't matter if they say thank you. When you can learn to help that person pick up that item that fell over, when you allow that person in front of you on the freeway to take that space, because you know what, that's just who you are. They didn't wave. I don't need them to wave. Their validation wasn't my goal, right? You feel me? You feel in this frequency. When I say let go of pain and let love in, I'm not talking about letting the love of someone else in first. I'm talking about letting yourself love you so that you can have love, so that you can feel love. Love right now is unfamiliar to most people because they can't even let themselves let go of the pain. They're battling being present because the pain is so seductive, right? So, this is where we're at, everybody. And it's an intense space, and I'm here to tell you. I need you to do a few things for me right now. Number one, I need you to share this. And there's no excuse. I need you to share this. There's a button below the video that says share. When we're done, share it somewhere. And I need you to hit the like button. Not because I need your validation, but because I want you to make a step and a stand for yourself. Go a little bit extra than just sitting as a spectator. I want you to get involved, and that requires you to share a message because you're saying, I agree, this gave me something, and you're hitting the like button because you're saying, you know what? I like myself enough to plant a seed and to say yes, right? And if you really, really are ready to get shit done, then you go to ryankeys.com and you book a reading, which is not just a reading. It's a reality check. It's to help you up level, to get to the next level of life, to cut out all the bullshit, to break through, because you're right there. You're right there. You've been swimming, you've been treading water, and the boat's there, and you're almost at the boat. Don't stop treading water. Just let me reach down from the boat, give you my hand, and help you in. Right? And that's where we're at. That's what's going on. That's how it goes down today. And the earth is different going forward for you. Right? Intense, loving reading right now for you. And shoot me an email at info@ryankeys.com if you need to. And follow me on Instagram at ryankeys2love. And you can also go to my Patreon, which is Ryan Keys. Right? All the links are in this location down below. This is an hour that I spent with you so that we have quality time. And I've invested. I hope that you will receive this investment. Whether you do or not, doesn't limit or doesn't alter how much I've enjoyed being here doing this, which is fantastic. You see, because I enjoy this and I don't do it for you. I do it for me as you. I do this because if I can allow my love and my light to shine as bright as possible, I can be an example and a witness so that you know what it looks like and you'll want it. Because nobody can make you do the work. Nobody can make you change your story. Nobody can do that but you. But you can see somebody as an example and you can move into that and get that done. All right? Peace, light, and love, and I will see you all very soon. Come on over to Patreon. Go to Instagram. I'm enjoying this. I'm glad that you're having fun and sharing this. Also, feel free to take any clips out of this and share it on Instagram. You have my permission to do so.